Hello, Wickham Wizards. Mrs. Keitel here. That's right, you heard correct. My name is Mrs. Keitel. For those of you who had me as your art teacher the last couple years and you've called me Miss Gail, I am now married from this summer, and Mrs. Keitel is the title. So it's going to be a weird change for me, just like it will be for all of you. But as we continue on this year, Mrs. Keitel or Mrs. K will be my name. Welcome back to the art room. We are all set up for our 2018-2019 school year. I'm going to give you a quick run through of our classroom. We're going to talk about our tables, table jobs, art room expectations, and then also some of the fun stuff that we get from doing an awesome job in art, like Mystery People crayons, or the challenge that we do for each grade, which is the Class Wars, the Star Wars Class Wars. So, as you walk into the art room, just like in previous years, if you're not a kindergartner or new to Wickham, we've got our recycle bin and trash can right when you enter. Next, we have our Class Wars, and I'll touch back on this a little bit towards the end, but that's kind of our guiding thing for our room. It brings us right in. Next, we've got the library, a new chair this year for my readers. You must be reading to sit here. We've got nice big black pieces of paper on our backboard this year. This is going to highlight some of our awesome artists each week. You'll notice there's a number for each grade, and we'll swap out artwork every week. I've got my cutting board in the storage room door right along this wall. These are off limits to students. Should not be touching cutting boards, and if you need anything in that room ever, you'll be asking me first. We've got 6 tables this year. Our 6 tables are all going to be labeled by color. We've got yellow, blue, purple, green, light blue or teal, as well as red. You'll notice these have a picture on them and also numbers. The picture is to remind you all of what your table caddies should look like at the end of class, and the numbers are to help us know which seat number we have. So going around any table facing the back of the room, we've got seat number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we go in a circle around the table from left to right, and again I'll show you on the paper. Wherever you sit this year, you will have a number in your spot as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Moving to the front of the room, we've got my messy desk, which I'll have cleaned up before you guys come this week. We've got my hub computer up front. This is another area that, of course, students are welcome, but we should not be touching things up on the desk without permission. You will see our front table under the smart board is now our supply table. This is where our table jobs will find supplies and where they will need to come back at the end of class. Our pictures at our tables match our bins to show you what you need, and we will also have trays with our paper color to match our table, and our paper that we need for our plans will actually be at our spots with us this year, so we won't have to wait in line. We'll have everything we need. Got my name for everybody, Mrs. Keitel up here. Our centers and free draw is going to be located up front. As you can see, free draw and centers are not 100% ready yet, but they're getting there. For our free draw this year, we'll have a couple paper options: plain paper, lined paper, or recycled paper. Remember, only take one. Okay? Now, really quick, we're going to go over table jobs, which will be done by each colored table, as well as our art room expectations and what it means when we follow those expectations. So, for our table jobs, friends, these are going to be per table color. So, each job is the distributors, collectors, noise control, table washers, sink monitors, and last but not least, quality control. Each table in the room will have one of these jobs every week. Distributors will get our supplies, so they would be the people delivering our trays to our colored tables. The collectors are the people who would bring those back. at the end of our work time. Noise control table will make sure that we're keeping our voices nice for creating. Table washers will make sure our tables are cleared off, wiped down, and dried up if they need to. Sink monitors are going to make sure our sinks look great, are dried off, and that all paintbrushes are put away and cleaned properly. And again, last but not least, those quality control peeps are going to make sure that anybody who needs help gets it and that our room looks great for the next class to come in. These are the jobs of each table while we are working. But we have expectations that start from the moment we walk in the room. Each expectation is almost like a point in the art room. If we meet all of our expectations, then we get points for each one. Our first one would be to walk in quietly. If you're in kindergarten to second grade, you would quietly walk to the carpet, where the older students would walk to their table spots. Our next expectation is to watch and listen. This is when the teacher is talking. Maybe I'm teaching a lesson or I'm giving you a demonstration, but it's so important to watch and listen. Number 3, we have work time, doing our best and using time wisely. Number 4 is our volume, to make sure that we are keeping our volume at a good level for learning. 5 is cleanup, which is including our table jobs we just talked about. And number 6 is lineup. When we are all done and lined up, then we get to talk about if we met our expectations and kind of that point system. But not just points, it's also a ranking system. Now, for those of you who know me pretty well, you know that I love Star Wars. So at the end of every class, when we are lined up, we can talk about the expectations we met and the ranking that we earned for that day. 1 to 2 expectations is a youngling. 2 to 3 expectations is a Padawan. 4 expectations is a non-ranking Jedi. 5 expectations is a Jedi Knight. And for those classes and those students that meet all of our expectations in our art class, you will be Jedi Masters. Whenever a class reaches the Jedi Master ranking, then they get to add a Star Wars character to our board. So for instance, if today we had 3rd grade and 3K got all of their expectations met, then they would select a character to put by their class code. If one class has 5 perfect art days, which means 1 month or a little over a month of perfect art days, then they get to earn a free art day with Miss G on their next class. Not very much has changed for my students who were with me last year, but for any of my new friends, if you have questions about table jobs, expectations, or even the fun stuff that we get to do, meeting our expectations, don't be shy to ask. I'll have a couple more videos for you all to explain things, but welcome to art. I'm so excited to be your teacher, and we're going to have an awesome, awesome year.